What's up and welcome back to Cleats to Whistle podcast. I am Brad Valdez.
I am Kevin Watson.
And we are here at Bullitt East. Our special guest is Keegan Kendricks, man. I appreciate you for coming on the podcast, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to tell you I appreciate y'all for what you all do for the state and what you do for the sport. I think it's pretty awesome that you know, to get the support. It's such a special sport that we have, and that you all are doing this is it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked to him. What was that? We went to and talked to him at Western Hills.
Western Hills.
That coaches, college.
Yeah.
That was, yeah. That's the first time we had talked to a lot of those guys, and we got some good friendships out of that. Just going to that, and that's actually where we set this up.
Yep.
Was that week or that night there? So. Yeah, we have to do that more often. We have to.
We have to.
Yeah.
So, but we're here at Bullitt East, man. You guys, 2022 6A state champ, won the Bullitt Cup last season, right?
Yep.
And you guys were 9-3, 2-1 in district last year. So it was a phenomenal year, man.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We. Coming off of a state championship year, it's how do you follow that up? We challenged our kids a lot at the start of the year with, everybody talks about how do you respond to loss and defeat, the right way. The same thing, how do you respond to tremendous success? Coming back that next year is, I would say, in ways as challenging as having a really bad season, coming in and kind of not getting complacent, not falling off, and trying to continue on with what you did the year before. So
it's hard to keep the kids from riding the coattails of the guys before them.
It's hard as coaches too.
That's right.
I mean, it's
it
across the board. You start weightlifting while you're trying to order rings. For the next season.
That's a tough problem to have.
Yeah, that's
And I know. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of laughing about it, and it's it's a great problem to have. But truly, you're doing the banquet and celebrating rings and celebrating a milestone that a lot of people never thought we'd be able to get to. And then, hey, now we got to get back to work and go again. It was a challenge. So
for did you struggle with that, separating the two teams? I mean, I know it's got to be hard because, like you said, they overlap. They have to.
I think the big challenge for us this year was, everybody knew that senior class and how special they were. That was able to lead us to that. And so. Now getting our upcoming seniors last year, upcoming juniors to step into that role and keep that thing going and not fall off. That was our challenge this year, and I thought our kids, for the most part, did a pretty good job with it.
So you lost what in second round, third round?
Lost the second round of Ryle. Yeah.
Ryle. Okay.
For Ryle. So with that, you know what I mean. This is just, I'm just happy you invited us out here, man. But what we want to do is spotlight you. You know what I mean? A young guy coming up, man, in the game. How long you been coaching?
I graduated in college in 2017. Went to Lindsey Wilson College and started. I got my first job at Southwestern in the fall of 2017. That was with my old high school coach, which was Larry French, who coached me at Boyle County, and then. While I was in college, Coach French had moved to Southwestern, and so coming out of college, he gave me that first opportunity, which was really cool to see kind of from the player side what it was like in an established program and then going to Southwestern at the time, which was trying to be rebuilt under the same guy from the other side of the locker room and being the coach's office. So that was certainly a really cool perspective that I'm very thankful for to be able to spend a couple years with them. And then 2019 came up here. My offensive coordinator from Boyle County was Chris Mason, who was the principal here at Bullitt East. And when they started a new coaching search, brought in Coach Ethan Ashley, and they called me up and asked me to come install the Boyle County run game.
Hey, you had me at Boyle County because
exactly.
I have nothing but respect for those guys. I'm friends with Coach Haddix, and we went to camp with them this year. Not first class. I mean, those guys really know how to do it down there. So you had me at Boyle County. As soon as you said that, I was like, wait, this guy knows what he's talking about because that's the pedigree for that county team is ridiculous. Boyle County is just, I mean, you can't say enough about that down there.
And I can't, but it's a culture that was built by those guys in the 90s and Chuck Smith and
Oh, yeah.
The school has done a great job, and Haddix and Coach French, they've all done a good job of carrying on the torch, and is very, 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 as you're kind of saying, blessed to be able to be a part of that program. Very much understood how good we have.
That's a great place to learn how to do it. How to do it.
Right.
Well, yeah, and to win a state championship. Did you win a state championship there?
A couple.
Yeah, there you go. And then
just a couple. Yeah.
and winning, one as a coach, and a young coach. How are you like holding back, how are you being patient on getting back to that? You know what I mean? You won one pretty early, and your success has been like right now.
You talking about for me personally?
For you personally,
it's honestly something I've been wrestling with here recently. Just you start coaching. I'd been coaching 4 or 5 years before I was able to be promoted to head coach and have that crazy year we had in 2022. Just that hunger of wanting to get back to championships and be a part of a program that was winning championships, competing for championships. And what was really cool was, we were talking about before we got on the air was, Bullitt East and Mount Washington has changed tremendously since I got here in 2019. We've got great administration support and great support coming from our superintendent, and to achieve that in a crazy year, and then now it's we got to go back to work. So it's that hunger is there, and I'm excited that I have the opportunity to lead.
It's in his blood. Coming from where he came from, you're never satisfied.
You're never satisfied, but being patient is, what I mean? It's got to be hard. Okay. Just knowing that you've been there so many times, and then now you're like, okay, I took this monster, won really quick.
But he's used to having a target on his back. Boyle County always had a target on their back.
That's true, too. That's
Bullitt
true.
East won a state championship, so last year you had the target on your back. Mayo wanted to get back to you, blah, 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 all that. So he's used to having a target on his back, and he knew, trust me, he knew it was coming.
Yeah. Well, then how do you deal with pressure? You know what I mean? How do you get away from the game? Are you a family man, or you know what I mean? Or what type of person are you, man? Just to take that step back.
Yeah. So I've got, as we all know, as coaches, our wives and our better halves are, they let us do what we do. And I had my first child, my daughter, in that 2022 year. So, I try very hard to separate, coming to practice, going to work, doing all that here, and then going home and just enjoying her and my kids, and that's really about it.
That's the struggle. That's the struggle, man.
It really is.
No, hey, you got a special shout out, man.
Well, to my graduate?
Yes.
I had a daughter graduate college yesterday.
Awesome. Great
day in my life. And I told her, I said, I've done a lot in my life, but that is one thing I never did. I never graduated from college. I said, you did something the old man didn't do. I said, so be proud. I'm tickled to death. That's just.
Yeah, so that's a great shout. Shout her out,
Jen. I love you.
There you go, man. You got it. Yeah. Hey, he sent me a text yesterday. This is behind the look. He's like, man, the rain hid my tears, man, because he was so happy. You know what I mean?
My face, and I was like, all right, I can cry now. Nobody will ever see me because it was raining. So it was outside. It was terrible weather. So yeah. Speaking about the weather, I'm really upset that we didn't get outside and showcase this stadium. Unbelievable stadium. And it's the first time I've been here since the new stadium was built. And talk about that a little. That's got to be a plus as far as, practicing and games and everything.
About once a week, there are still days where I'll just grab one of my coaches and I'll just say, do you all ever, when you walk out here every once in a while, just kind of get taken aback with what it is now to what it was? We go out there, and for anybody who's able to come to any game this year, you'll see our stands, and, the away bleachers that we have now were our home stands in that state championship run in the years before. We were kind of talking about it. We are in facilities that were built in 1980, 1985 for a 2A program at the time, and Mount Washington has rapidly grown in population. So we're now a 6A program with 2A facilities, and Jesse Bacon, our superintendent, has done a great job of devoting time and resources to updating our facilities and the facilities of Bullitt Central and North Bullitt. You all said you got to go to our the home opener at North Bullitt. That was a awesome atmosphere to be at, and so yeah, it's really special to kind of think about all the changes that have happened around the
It's beautiful. It really is. The red just.
It pops.
Oh, it pops.
It
really
pops.
does, yeah.
And you got that. What are you guys? The Bronco?
Chargers.
Chargers.
Chargers,
Jesus,
baby.
I was just reading that. I know.
Chargers, baby.
Sorry about that. But you guys have that Charger. That big thing you guys run out of.
Yeah.
That thing was
thing.
awesome, man. I was like, this fired
Smoking
me.
nostrils.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Hey, if you can't get to a game here, it's the light shows when you guys score. It's just a phenomenal atmosphere.
It's
But
intimidating for a visiting team.
No, it is, and I talked to. Remember, we talked to Coach Abel. You know what I mean? That's a pretty intimidating thing when you see that the kids are just like caught off guard, like.
Oh man,
what's going
I had
on?
that problem this year because we went down to Bowling Green in the regional championship this year, and first thing I told them, I was like, every time they score, the lights are going to flash, and I said, don't be scared, it's going to happen because we're not going to shut them out. I mean, they beat the crap out of us, but we're not going to shut them out. So I'm going to tell you right now. And the first time it went off, the kids were like, and it really grabs a hold of somebody who's never seen it before, and it's a really cool experience.
Yeah. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
so let's shout out some of your mentors, man. Hey, you got to show some love to those guys. I know you're Boyle County guy, so it's
gonna be another one of them lists.
You got a list, but okay. Let's do this. Who was the first person that you called when you won that state championship as a coach?
Probably my dad. My dad has been my buddy, through the whole thing, and he was my first coach and followed me along the way. He does the chains at Boyle County, but now he misses those games to come to Bullitt East games, and so probably him. But man, when you talk about coaches, I had all my coaches from Boyle, obviously, that you all talked about with that have certainly been just tremendous influences and led me to this. But man, there's been guys around the state, and I think that's like kind of what I talked about. Appreciate you guys doing this, man. There's been so many people when I first got hired that I've hopped on the phone with and just picked their brains. Very much. I think y'all were talking about it with Coach Jaggers. Maybe we're all copying each other and figuring it out. And I certainly don't know anything, and I'm just asking some of the best brains I can get a hold of and see what they're doing. And
you ain't stealing, you ain't trying.
That's right. That's all we're doing. So
yeah, now shout out a couple of your mentors that and it don't got to be a football guy. It could be anybody that just brought you up in life.
Well, Coach French, like I said, coached me in high school, and then at Southwestern was my first head coach I got to work for, which was tremendous. But another coach that coached me in high school, that was Coach French's DC, that really kind of took me under his wing at the start when I was there, let me come and spend one-on-one hours watching film when I was at Southwestern, was William Blair, who's the head coach at Madison Central. And since then, I mean, I could go down a list of, Jeff Hester at Boyle County, and Billy Goldsmith and Chris Mason, who gave me the job here, and I've hopped on the phone with Brandon Smith, has taken my calls a lot of times, having that Boyle County connection. Hopped on the phone with Josh Abel a few times, and we're district rivals, and he's been gracious enough to let me just kind of pick his brain a little bit about things. David Buchanan, I mean, there's that it's such a wonderful community of coaches, and I think that's one of the things that makes me at least stay is like you're not alone with anything that we're doing. So
it's the funny part about it is a lot of people are scared to reach out because you're like, oh man, that guy.
Chuck Smith.
We're district rivals, so I don't want to reach out. But I've never reached out to anybody where they didn't take my call and chat.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that Smith word again. We talked about this. Anytime you bring up the Smiths, I mean that's football royalty in the state of Kentucky. I mean, if you can bend those guys' ears, you're ahead of the game.
Well, and you asked me like what was the idea why I started this, and that's because like I told you, I've been in so many coaches' office. You hear their stories. You know what I mean? This guy, he likes peanut or no butter on his
brown sugar cinnamon Pop Tarts with butter on it.
So no one would know that. You know what I mean? And no one would know your story. And that's what we're trying to do is let your community get to know who you are on a personal level and come out here on Friday nights and fill this stadium, man. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
You know, that's what this podcast is about. Coach jumped on. He retired and said, "Hey," he texted me, "I want to get on the podcast." Well, come on, man. Well, let's do it. You know, but I just love it because of the brotherhood.
Right.
You know, I mean, man, I've met so many coaches. It's just been unreal.
Well, if you're coaching, you know, it's a calling. You know, we all get into this thing, you know, knowing what we're going to make, and we do it.
Know what you're not going to make.
Right. Knowing, you know, we had a special probably playing experience. We want to replicate that for the kids and be the mentors to them that our guys were to us. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we're all trying to accomplish. And, you know, to have guys around the state that you can all call, and we're all in this thing together trying to make the state a little bit better. It's good.
So who is so you got a big game coming up. Who is your one guy that you would reach out to for coaching advice or?
Man, we're putting Coach on the spot with a lot of these.
I can tell you who my guy was. Ty Scroggins and I talked a lot. We coached together, and Ty was always the guy that if I didn't understand something, I would reach out and he would explain it to me.
Sure.
Or he would say, "All right, I'm coming over. Let's get on the board." And he would come over and get on the board, and it would be like, whew.
Well, it would depend on the issue we were trying to attack.
That's right. Offense,
this week,
defense. I mean, yeah.
This week I hopped on the phone with Larry French and Chris Mason again, who was the principal here, and he's now assistant super at Marshall County. So hopped on the phone with them this week. You know, Coach French is usually my defensive guy, or Coach Blair is, and then Coach Mason is my offensive guy.
So I used to work with Russ Smith. Used to be at Fern Creek a long time ago, wing tee guy. So when I was DC at Fairdale, so every time we got for a wing tee team, coach would get on the board and he would tell me, "All right, now this is me. Line up your defense. Okay, this is what I would do. If I see this is what I'm going to do." I mean, it helps immensely seeing the other side of the ball. I mean, are you the offense? You run the offense?
I'm the offensive coordinator. Yeah.
So to see the defensive perspective, like me, I would love bending the OC's ears. If I come out in this, what would you do? Or if I blitz, you know, what's your pickup?
Right.
And what's your blocking schemes up front? It's good to have those guys to reach out. I mean, like I said, you threw that Smith word out there again. I mean,
any superstitions that you have?
Oh man.
You know, you've been asking guys this on the podcast. I've been listening.
Oh yeah.
I wear the same color underwear every week. It's got to be red underwear for the Chargers, baby. There you go.
There you go.
Too much information for everybody to know.
No, I rock the red every now and then. That's okay.
Yeah.
Just don't get wet with light color pants on.
Right. That's right.
You know, I wore since I started since I started coaching here in Kentucky. My first job was at Western. I have a green belt, right, and I still wear it to this day. I got it right here. I start the podcast. I coach in it. That's what I wear. So I have to have that all the time.
Everybody's got the little.
What is yours?
I used to throw up before every game.
Really?
That was my thing. I would throw up. On the way out to the field, I'd be carrying the headsets, and there would be a garbage can, and I would throw up in the garbage can, wipe my mouth off, go up and coach.
There you go.
Coach Dover, the first time I did it, Coach Dover's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I'm great now." Yeah, I threw up before every game.
Really?
You that as a player too?
No, it's just
Just
always been as a coach. I always threw up on my way out to the field.
I was always deep on kickoff return, and whenever I stuck that mouthpiece in my mouth, I was always that guy.
That first gag. Once you get that first gag out of the way, it's good.
I was always.
So, do you have any pregame things that you do, like a certain song you want to listen to, or a meal, or?
No, I mean I'm a pretty big stickler about keeping it routine with the guys across the board. Game day is the day where I spend all day putting my play call sheet together, and if I don't do that, you know, or that's rushed, that's probably when I stress out the most. Having that, you know, there and ready to go, and then just making sure everybody.
Now, are you a big, long 8x14 play sheet guy with the colors?
When I first started, I was. And then I spent the year in off season and really consolidated that thing down because I felt.
I think everybody does. Everybody thinks it's cool when you look on the NFL and the guy's holding his play sheet up.
So what? You got the trifold?
My first year I did. It was dumb, but yeah.
Hey, see, and this is why I got my call sheet. That's what I call my call sheet on the podcast. Right?
You know, if you do the same thing for so long, you don't really need a play sheet.
Well, you can be like Leach. Take that sheet of paper.
Little post-it note about this big, and it's got if they see this, I do this. I mean, that's what's the old saying: you dance with the girl who brung you. I mean,
there you go.
If you get to this point in your career and you don't know what you're doing, and you need a big 150 page play sheet, you're probably not.
The team's probably struggling.
That's right.
If
you're not doing something good and you've got 150 plays, you're not doing any of them good.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and also I just put this. We were sitting at the light, and I was like, you know what? I brung the family. You know, when we came to watch the Fern Creek game, but my wife watches a little girl. Her name's London. She loved the concession stand here, man. She said it was one of the best ones. They had the fried foods. You guys,
funnel cake.
You guys had funnel cakes or elephant or something here, man.
Wow.
Who does the concession stands?
It's the Bullitt East Marching Band, baby.
You don't have time for that.
Bullitt East Marching Band, baby.
Is that who does it?
Yep. They do
I had to give a shout out to the concession stand.
There you go.
Because she kept running to me like every 5 minutes. Look what I got. I was like,
you know, it's funny as a coach.
Chill out, man.
Pay for this.
You figure out who's got the best concession stands. Or like everybody talks about Central.
Yep.
And they've got the pork chop sandwich, and it's funny where you go with fish sandwiches, and it's
Nelson County has the pork burgers.
There you go.
Yep.
I mean, it's
So with has your district changed at all this year?
Nope. We've since I've been here. So 19 when I got here with Coach Ashley was our Bullitt East first year in 6A, and since then it's been Fern Creek, Southern, and Mayo.
Okay. So
I guess did you see the proposal coming up for the new ones? It didn't change then either?
It's still the same.
Still the same for you guys? Oh, okay, that was a question because that's what I wanted to know. And you know what I mean? Now trying to climb that mountain, you know what I mean? You did it before with Mayo, you know, going at it with them. You know, you got, you know, Coach Abel at Fern Creek, you know what I mean? You're always, you know, they're always, Fern Creek is like, you know, I want to play Bullitt East. I want to play Mayo. Right. You know what I mean? You climbing that mountain, you know, and beating those guys. Just what was like the sense of the locker room after that happened?
I mean, it was electric, man. I mean, you know, first year new district, first year 6A. You know, since we got here, it's been, you know, Mayo is the litmus test. Mayo is the if you can play with Mayo, then you can potentially play with Trinity and X, and you know, fight with the big three. And so,
it doesn't hurt to not have to play all three of them in the same playoffs.
Sure. But you know, since we got here, it's always kind of built up, you know, to that game and see, you know, where's the program at, where are we at, and you know, we feel like if we can walk in there and compete and make it, you know, a game, then we're in the right direction, you know, and you know, been here 5 years, and one of those we've been able to do that, 4 we've not, so we'll keep chasing that standard. And
well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, and this is the most positive way I can put this, but that year you won a state championship, you guys were a bunch of assholes in a positive way. I mean, those kids were mean. They were tough. That was a hell of a football team. And you guys, I know those kids in that locker room knew that they could beat anybody they lined up against.
Well, took some we call it Dr. Philin.
Yeah.
Played a little psychology.
And I mean that in a positive way. Those kids were jerks on the football field.
Well, they believed.
Yeah, they did.
And you know, I think honestly, I think in 2021 we were better than maybe we showed at times. And so truly, you know, before this we were talking about, you know, that season we lost to Spencer County the first game, and in the scrimmage before that we had taken it to Ballard pretty good. You know, and so we were able to look at those kids and say, guys, it's up to you. You know, how successful you want to be. Ballard obviously goes to the state semifinal that year, and
you lose in the first round or second round that year. Isn't it funny how that happens?
Yeah,
you beat the crap out of a team, and they go to the final, and you lose. I mean, it's amazing how that works.
So we were able to, you know, talk to those kids about buying in and believing, and man, they did. You know, it was a treat to coach them. So
yeah, and then with you growing up, man, were you like an offensive guy, or were you a defensive guy? What'd you grow up playing?
Defensive guy. kind of, I'm a tweener body, so you either putting on 20 pounds and putting your hand in the dirt, or you're losing 20 pounds and playing linebacker. And so my high school career was defensive tackle, defensive end, middle linebacker, and senior year played a little bit of offensive guard as well. And so then got to play it in college. Lindsey Wilson ended up being defensive end. So defense, baby. Defense is where I started. Defenses is where I was really working with Coach Blair and Coach French at Southwestern, and then kind of came here and flipped the sides of the ball, and now I'm the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and how was that? How did you grasp that? Being
a defensive guy, it makes you a better offensive
Yeah, that's what I said.
you
think it made you better?
Yeah.
Well, I give a lot of credit to Coach Ashley. When he called me and brought me in with him, we follow the Tony Franklin system, and so he brought that, and so my job was to mask, like I said, Boyle County's run game into the Tony Franklin system, and so flipping on that side of the ball. Coach Ashley is a offensive mind. He's very smart when it comes to X's and O's, and so I just got in his hip pocket and asked him a lot of questions, and slowly, kind of over the course of 3 years, picked it up more and more, and he started to trust me more, and here we are.
He was an offensive dude. He almost got me fired in my first game in Fairdale. We gave up 42 points the first game.
Oh, that's the one you were talking about in the car?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the only game we lost that year until we got to the last game of the season. Yeah.
Wow, man.
So
okay.
Before we get too far away from the state championship game, I've always had this question I've wanted to ask you, but I've never had you alone to ask, and I'm sure you've answered it. Who called the 2-point conversion play? Whose call was that? I mean, you talk about stones. I was there because we had the 5A player of the year that year at halftime, or between games, and went and did the plaque and all that. So I was there, and me and my wife were there, and I sat there and I said, they're going for 2 if they score here. She goes, no way, overtime. And I said, no chance. Who had the stones to call it? Was that you, or did somebody talk you into that, or you knew if we score, we're going for 2?
I wasn't thinking about it on the way up. After the game, everybody's coming up to me kind of like you said, he's going to go for 2, go for 1, whatever. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just worried about scoring.
Yeah.
We score. And honestly, I was going to hold up the extra point, and a few of our kids stayed out there and started holding up 2s, and so they kind of called it.
So Egan probably had a little bit to do with that too, right?
It was actually a couple linemen kind of staying out there, and they were holding up the 2s. So I kind of looked at them and
Riverboat Gambler. I love it.
Let's go, man. That's a great story.
It's funny because when that happened, everybody stood up because they was like, "Oh, this is it.
You could feel it. You could feel it. You could feel it.
Either he's going to be a hero or he's going to be a GOAT. This is it right here." And when he hit it, I was like, you could see him. He just went.
When we, that's what I called it. So we actually put that in a few weeks before, just in case. Honestly, I'd seen Mail beat St. X on an extra point play in a similar kind of jet sweep throw fashion. So we put that in week 3, and when I called it, I hopped on the headset. I said, coaches, I said, guys, if this don't work, please forgive me because nobody else is going to. And
that's right.
Well, nobody else forgive me, so.
Awesome.
I would have probably yelled at you if it didn't work.
Yeah,
yeah. So, but it was. You could just see it. Where I was sitting, I was literally on the goal line, and you could see it. When he first ran the sweep, I was like, "Oh my God, they're going to get him!" And then all of a sudden, it was just like, "He's wide open. Throw it. He's wide open."
Damn. Well, I like this segment. The good, bad, the ugly from last season. Okay, take us through some of the good, bad, and the uglies you had.
So the good, we'll start with that. 9-3, coming off of just the most tremendous season in school's history. How do you respond to that? We actually, I know everybody kind of says this, but by the Fern Creek game, and it kind of escalated in the Fern Creek game, we lost 3 or 4 defensive linemen. We had a rotation of about 8 guys on the offensive line. I think there might have been 1 or 2 weeks where I had the same offensive line back to back, and honestly, stuff outside of football. Our kids got hit with a few things last year, and we talked about, overcoming hurdles we were facing. And I thought they just did a tremendous job of responding the right way and pushing through the season. It didn't end the way we wanted. Felt like we could have put, maybe a better product on the field the way it ended. But, when you look back at it, with all the things they dealt with, I'm really proud of the way they finished and what they did out last year.
So that's the good.
That's the good.
The bad was obviously the injuries.
Bad was the injuries.
Or would that be the ugly?
Or would that be the ugly?
Obviously, you know what I mean.
Ugly was probably the way the season ended.
Yeah, I guess. So yeah, just give us your bad.
Well,
tough spot to be in.
You know, we didn't respond well in the PRP game, having to come back on a Saturday, and they did a great job. Got fired up, and were able to knock us off. And Coach Williams did a great job with that. You know, felt like we didn't play as well as we could have at the end. You know, felt like we had a little more gas in the tank than we showed, and so, you know, our challenge to this year is we talked about, you know, a lot of, I kind of talked about hurdles that came in our way that might have been, you know, reasonable excuses, but excuses nonetheless. So this year our kind of mantra has been no excuses, and trying to lock in and just push through whatever hits us.
Wasn't that kind of it was a complete opposite of the 22 season, because everything that came your way, you guys just knocked it down and just kept rolling.
Yeah, I didn't have any injuries hardly. In 2022, had one or two, but everybody stayed healthy for the most part, and kids were able to keep playing. And yeah, it's kind of the tale of two sides. Yeah,
but to still be 9-3, I mean, that's a pretty damn good 2-year run.
Yeah,
for any 6A team. I mean, much less the second and third year in 6A.
Yeah, I mean, fifth year in 6A,
okay.
and you know, had a few, you know, solid wins. You know, Fern Creek is great every year. Had a solid win over Woodford County at the start of the year, and you know, beat a very disciplined, hardworking Meade County team. So they were certainly, yeah, I'm you know, very proud of what we were to put on the table this year. They did a great job. They're fun to coach.
You know, it was funny when the preseason and everybody's predictions came out, and they were like, "Both these, they're not having anybody come back. They're not." And to win 9 games, I was like, "Don't underestimate these dudes, man."
No,
yeah, they got some hard workers out here.
Yeah, and then the ugly part, let's just say injuries and
inexperience, but that's going to help us this year. So, you know, with the injuries comes some young guys stepping up to play, but that's good for this year, right?
That's
so
right.
That's perfect.
And not have that deer in the headlights look, and hopefully we can tackle a little quicker this
year.
year.
What are you looking at? 80 kids, give or take?
Over 100.
Over 100.
That's
We
cool.
We got about 80 right now.
That's program wide, or is that just varsity kids?
That's about 110, 120, 9 through 12, upcoming freshmen. So
it's cool. Got this baby rolling
when
right
we
now.
first got here in 19, we were about 50 to 60.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember when the first year we played y'all, it was we probably had more kids than y'all did.
My first year as a head coach, we bought 33 helmets.
I mean, you know, it's funny he said that, because Coach Dover and I last year, we always said, give us the dirty 30. We need 30 kids. We don't need 100 kids. We need 30 kids that know what they were doing and know what they want to do, and we can compete with anybody.
Yeah. Shoot.
Because only 11 can play at a time. I mean, let's be honest.
This is a phenomenal episode.
Yes.
Coach Kendricks here, man. We're almost done with you, man. But talk about like the Bullitt Cup a little bit. That was my first time experiencing that Bullitt County game, you know, with last season. Phenomenal. Fans came out, both sides. The house was packed. You know, what's been your experience with that?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. I've been here 5 years. We've won it 4. North Bullis got us in an absolute shootout back in 2021. It's important to our kids. It's important to our community. It's important to their community. And while it's not, you know, the district, and it's not who you're going to play in the playoffs, you know, they're 5A, we're 6A. It's certainly important to the pride of our kids and our fans, just as it is important to theirs. And so it's a lot of fun. It's, you know, there's a lot of pride involved with it, and you see that reflected in, you know, how many people show up. And it's something we're proud of when we can win it, and hopefully we can keep on.
The best thing about a trophy like that is if it's got a lot of dust on it, that means it's not moving.
Yeah.
It's staying put. I mean, that's...
Yeah, who did you have a rivalry game with that didn't you say you had?
When I was at PRP, it was Valley. We had a big snowman we played for every year.
That's right.
A snowman.
It was weird. It was on a pallet, and it was a snowman about this tall, and it was really weird. I mean, we beat them like 30 years in a row. It was weird. And it was one of those deals where they would sneak over and steal it, and I mean, it was, you know, I mean, you see that all the time, but you know, and of course, when I was at D-Sales, it was Cal.
Yeah.
I mean,
When I was at Western, we played for the Keegan Nails with Butler. We never win that.
Fairdale, when I was at Fairdale, our biggest rival was always Southern, and that series quit for some reason. I know the reason, but I'm not going to say it. And that series quit, so we really didn't have, I guess, Atherton maybe, just because of the competition-wise. But no, it's weird how that works. But the Valley PRP thing was huge. I mean, because they had been playing since the 50s.
Yeah.
And it was I'll have to see if I can dig up a picture and I'll send it to you. This big weird snowman. It was.
I never heard of
and the
snowman.
reason is because the first year they played, it was snow.
There you go.
And they made a snowman on the field, and there was dancing around it. Supposedly, it's what I heard. I mean,
It's a good story.
It's a great story.
Good story.
But then they made a big trophy, and it looked like a snowman.
Yeah.
Big white paper mache thing. It was great.
Okay, Coach, I always ask this question too. This one guy, he always giggles because he don't have no hobbies, man.
I do now.
No, well, yeah, now you do. He's finally going to have a summer where he can travel. You know what I mean? But what are some of your hobbies away from the game?
Like I said, kids first and foremost. You know, when I'm there, I'm playing with my daughter and taking care of my boy. I'm a little bit of a gamer. If I have any free time at all, I'm hopping on the Xbox and gaming a little bit.
That's the Xbox guy right there. What game you playing?
I grew up playing a lot of Call of Duty and first person shooters. You know, I cannot wait for NCAA.
Oh, I can't wait. That's going to go crazy.
With the NIL thing now, that's going to be crazy.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
Remember, you always had to hack in and get the little card or whatever with the players' names on it and pay extra for it.
Yep. Are you going to do any traveling on your dead period or anything like that? Or are you going to stick around town? Or
we're going up to the Great Lakes this year. We usually go down to the beach, and our family takes a vacation every year. So we're going to go up to the Great Lakes and see what that's about.
Going to what is it, the dunes? What's
the dunes? Yeah, Silver
dunes?
Lake up there is beautiful.
Sandusky, Ohio.
He's from
you're going to Sandusky.
He's from Michigan.
Oh, all right. No, yeah, you're going.
Good spot.
Oh, so you'll love it up there. They got Cedar Point. They got you know what I mean. They got the lake there. Everything, man. You'll have a great time up there.
We're excited.
Yeah, a great time, man. Okay, but what would be your favorite road snack that you would take on your road trip?
I don't eat these any other time except when I'm on a big road trip, and it's pizza combos.
Yes. I did the same thing. Those are awful until you're in thought.
They're slow eating.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big bag of them. You just
and they taste just like pizza.
There you go.
Really? Combos? You guys are combo guys?
Pepperoni pizza combos, man.
Not unless I'm on the car for a big road trip.
See, I always, if we go to Texas or something, I got to have the seeds. You know what I mean? So the barbecue seeds. So I always have those.
Seeds are a dirty word for a guy with turf. They don't like the seeds.
Yeah. They probably get mad out there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We used to do it just to piss everybody off. We'd spit seeds all over their turf and make them mad.
And hot tamales was my go-to candy. You guys got a go-to candy?
It's a new one that I'm on right now. Those Nerds gummy clusters. You have them?
Phenomenal. Coach,
You
I know
you need to go get them.
I know you got a candy. I know you got a sweet
I'm a
tooth.
chocolate dude, man. I love M&M, Reese's peanut butter cups. I'm a chocolate guy.
Chocolate guy. I wouldn't think that. I thought you'd be like a sweet tart. You know what I mean?
I love like the gummy worms and the Haribo gummy bears. I love those, but chocolate's my go-to.
Damn. All right. Well, that's good. That was a good segment. I like that one. I had to ask that question.
Yeah, we'll have to remember that
Yeah.
one.
Now, what did you learn about yourself last season?
Man, just that. Like I said, I think a little bit of everybody within our program, to a degree, battled with a little bit of complacency, and just as the season progressed, that fire, was really relit. And so just especially coming off of the year we had, everybody had a target on our back, and it doesn't stop, baby. It doesn't stop. So
the grind never stops.
It don't stop. You can't breathe and relax for even a second. So.
Can't be complacent, man.
Right.
Yeah, especially especially at you know what I mean, just coming off. And was that PRP game? Did that take a little wind out of the sail? Maybe.
Honestly,
best thing ever happened to you.
Well, it was like a weight, it was like a weight kind of got lifted off of our shoulders. At least I felt it. I asked my coaches, and they said they had it. You build up the whole season, and last off season was pretty crazy. Building the turf. Our practice field got taken away, and they put a new track up there, and they're building the turf. So we were walking across the street every day or finding places to practice, and there was just so much kind of pent up tension and stress. Everybody's looking at you. The news cameras know who you are now, and came in and like I said, a very good Woodford County team. Had a pretty good game against them, and I think when PRP kind of they took it to us. They played harder than we did. They were more locked in. They wanted it more, and
make no bones about it. Tommy had that game circled.
And they brought it to us.
Yeah.
And I think it was just a realignment for our kids, but also I think it was kind of a weight taken off everybody's shoulders to take that attention. And you're not the defenders anymore once you lose. You're like everybody else. So.
Yeah. Well, you're not state champs anymore once the game's over. You're getting ready for the next year. You're
right.
Yeah, but you're still.
It's hard to teach those kids
that target, man.
That's right.
It's on you, man.
When I was at PRP, we went to state championship in 2013, and the next year we thought we had the best team. We thought we had a better team, and we went like 4-7. But just because they just wanted to ride the wave instead of creating their own wave, they wanted to ride it, and it doesn't always work that way.
Phenomenal episode, Coach. I really, really, really appreciate it. But you know what? Before we go, I know this is a long episode, but man, this is totally worth it. Spotlight, your guys. You got a lot of guys going to camps. Barron, he's been all over the place.
Yep.
How do you think that's going to affect him? You know what I mean? This season, do you think it's going to affect him by having, or is he an even keel kid?
Oh, he's even keel, baby. He works as hard as anybody we've got. He does our workouts here, goes to practice, and then he goes home and gets with the trainer and works some more. And his numbers reflect it. I mean, he's as a sophomore squatting 500 pounds and benching 315, power cleaning 285. He's a special kid, and it's not just because he's born athletic. He works for it. So. And he just kind of shows up every day and goes to work. So he's a good one for sure.
Yeah, man. And Barron, I appreciate you for tagging us in all your posts, man. Yeah. It's phenomenal.
And that was one thing about the weather today. And just getting sent home, we really missed having the kids on because we were really looking forward to talking. But we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll
definitely
be back.
have the kids on.
But spotlight, some more of your guys, man.
Yeah. Pretty big senior class coming up. Had a few guys who've been playing since their sophomore year in that state game that have that experience and have been in those big time games. I'm scared to death to miss anybody, so don't hold it against me if I don't say your name. But we've got Ryan Ray Hill's being recruited pretty good right now. He's been a linebacker since 2022 and coming in as a senior. Keegan Hillman has been starting since he was a sophomore. Brady Cornell has been starting since he was a sophomore. And we've had a few guys who have really stepped up in the last couple of years, fill in different kind of roles. Caden Bostock and Caden Cowan, the two Cadens, they're our wideouts and have been really big for us. The last couple of years, we had a really solid receiver core in that 22 team, and that was kind of one of the questions: is losing the quarterback, losing those receivers. In 2022, what were we going to be in 2023? Man, they didn't miss a hitch, man. They just kept going and went to work. And
now, what was the big lineman's name that you had? I think it was last year. He was the biggest one you had. Did he graduate? He was like a tackle.
You're probably 2022. That would have been Sebastian.
Yeah,
he went to Youngstown State.
That dude was an animal.
Big boy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, phenomenal episode, Coach. I really appreciate it, but we will be back out.
Oh,
Last words, man.
Well, it's a special episode. I usually have a beard. And for 7 years, I've had a beard, trying to make these kids think I was a little older than I am. I'm only 29. And Sunday night, for the first time, I messed up, slipped up. So you're getting a beardless episode. So if I ever become rich and famous,
he had the one on instead of the two.
This is going to be a big time fine for some people if I'm ever make it big time.
They're going to be like, hey, they hired a new coach.
There you go. Kids have been roasting me all week about it, man.
You know what? You did look different.
He looks younger.
Yeah, there you go. So
damn, phenomenal episode.
For you all. For you all, baby.
Wow.
I appreciate you, Coach, man. Like I said, we want to come out, spotlight you guys, your players, even some of your coaches, if they want to, your assistants, man. That's what it's about, too, is spotlighting those guys, man. Those guys put in, just as many hours as you, behind the scenes grinding, man. So we want to spotlight some of your coaches, get some of your guys out here, man. But phenomenal episode.
Hey, maybe we can check a game, too. I mean,
Yeah.
We'll have to check the schedule out.
Well, yeah, no, Mister. We have to come to a game to every episode. We only got 10 episodes,
we got
Coach.
10 games. I've only said that 3 or 4 times.
Okay, I'm gonna check the tape. I got to go back and check the tape.
I don't just say that to everybody.
You what? We'll check the tape. We're gonna check the tape.
We're coming to a Bullitt East game.
Mount Washington does it right, baby. It's a fun atmosphere. Come on.
It's phenomenal.
I want to see that state. I want to see that big.
It rocks, dude.
They got an
rocks.
awesome student section.
Yeah, they do.
They really do. Yeah.
I come to a game where you think we can win, so it'd be a little more fun for us.
With those, that big Charger out there, boy, that thing
I'm not
is.
going to put you on the spot and say, well, which game do you want us to come to?
I don't answer.
So yeah, like I said, for now, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Man, if you're part of the Bullitt East community, come out Friday nights, support these guys, man. Do what you can do, and we'll actually, through the episode, I'll put your
Handle.
Your handle for Twitter. I'll put that on there, man, and that's how they can get a hold of you.
What
right?
are your scrimmages? Maybe shout those out so the fans can maybe be looking for those coming. I know it's a long way off, but
we go down to South Warren. Brandon Smith, we go down there every year, and then Ballard's back here.
Ballard's back here. That'd be a good one. Yeah.
2 really good scrimmages for us to kind of see where we're
New
at.
coach. Let's see what they're at.
Well, it's Matt Keene who was at
Bullitt
Bullitt
Central.
So
he was my big
knows us
rival
well.
for a couple of years. Yeah.
Let's go, man. Phenomenal episode. Like I say, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. But yeah, like we always say, everyone has a story.
We're here for them to tell it.
Cleats to Whistle Podcast.